because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
People, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not, you know.
Floyd Mayweather commented on the rematch between Gervonta Davis and lamontroach. He expressed his thoughts, saying that Tank didn't do well in the first match and should have avoided the rematch. In response, Tank accused Mayweather of being selfish and not recognizing the success of other fighters. Davis believes Mayweather's refusal to support the rematch is because of jealousy and a need to stay relevant.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. How the say Terrence Crawford should fight Benavidez? That don't make no fucking sense. You don't never want to see nobody do better than him. I'm telling you.
Next in line. This is next in line.
Is there like a
last question, guys?
Is there like a love-hate for Floyd though? Like fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest. But he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad. And
you're good, man.
And he because I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
Gervonta Davis's exit from Mayweather Promotions stirred a lot of controversy. His choice to leave was marked by public arguments with Floyd Mayweather. These issues show the complicated nature of their professional relationship, as both men disagreed on how Davis's career should be handled. The fallout drew attention to the power struggles in boxing promotions, highlighting the tough decision athletes face when choosing between independence and the support of established figures in the sport.
Gervonta said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Bernard Hopkins, a legendary boxer, recently shared his thoughts on Gervonta Davis's career. He mentioned that Davis needed to break free from the control of Floyd Mayweather Promotions. Hopkins pointed out that Mayweather's influence over Davis stopped him from reaching his full potential by leaving the promotion. Davis could now make his own decisions about his career, including whether to have a rematch with lamontroach. Hopkins believed that this freedom would help Davis grow as a fighter, making choices based on his own wishes instead of outside pressure.
I commend Tank on saying, hey, this is my career, you had yours, I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet, all that's great, but at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview, you seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not going to let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I got to do what I got to do. This is my career.
The first fight between Gervonta Davis and lamontroach was full of controversy, especially with the officiating. Referee Steve Willis was criticized for not awarding Roach points at key moments. Many felt that the referee's decisions unfairly influenced the result, leading to a controversial draw. In response to the debate, Davis challenged his critics, suggesting they settle it with a rematch. Davis was determined to prove himself again, eager to quiet any doubts about his abilities. The controversy of the first fight created the perfect opportunity for a rematch, one Davis was ready to accept to reaffirm his strength.
Because I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. You should have seen what's going on. Why I would, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
We was going off. My assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on him. Like, hey Steve, the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. He was like, that was a knockdown.
Yeah,
he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60
that's how it was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with before you take a point? And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all? Nobody. I mean, I seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
Like, but I already said it.
Gervonta Davis is eager for a rematch with Lamontroach, knowing that the first fight hurt his reputation. He sees this second fight as a chance to show his dominance, settle any unresolved issues, and confirm his status as one of the best fighters in the world.
We gotta talk about it. So Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamontroach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haneys, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against a Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamontroach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was gonna look at them like, I don't want her to braid my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims on all his receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's father, expressed surprise at the outcome of the first Davis versus Roach fight. He admitted to being shocked by how the fight unfolded, but stated that he is a big fan of Gervonta Davis and didn't view the result as a robbery. However, he acknowledged that Roach's performance hurt Davis's reputation, as fighters who once feared him now felt more confident in facing him, raising questions about his dominance.
Roach, first of all, you surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. I was shocked at the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Yeah. Do you consider robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. The fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
All right. Well, talking about this rematch, what do you? So the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, you know, and not being a big puncher himself, you know, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that can play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day. You know, everybody has an off day, and you know, take him.
Yeah, everybody can have an off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that
the rematch's location in Las Vegas honors the city's rich boxing history, even though some fans are familiar with Davis's fights in Saudi Arabia. Regardless, the June rematch has raised excitement among boxing fans worldwide.
The good rumor is that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach are going to be rematching possibly June 21st in Las Vegas. I don't know if, you know, Vegas just wanted to fight off the publicity, especially with Turkey taking a lot of fights over to Riyadh, or they didn't want to return back to New York State Athletic Commission after they did Lamont Roach dirty. But Lamont said the terms were already agreed on for a rematch. He just had to sign it, so it seemed like, you know, it's going to be this Vegas summer blockbuster. It's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year as far as in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Nevada State Athletic Commission don't play, but we'll see how it go. Let me know what y'all think.
Shocker Stevenson, another top fighter in the lightweight division, gave his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. Stevenson, who has sparred with Roach before, believes Roach might have the upper hand in a second fight. He praised Roach's unique style, which he felt was unlike anything Davis had faced before.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So.
Did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So
Lamont Roach has voiced his frustration with the officiating during his first fight with Gervonta Davis. He has repeatedly said that referee Steve Willis made several mistakes, including not giving Roach points at crucial times. Roach believes Willis's actions were biased and greatly influenced the outcome of the fight.
You know, obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own. You know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. But even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right. But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fucking around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But you, it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on,
Take no
ref.
time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops is a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that
Fuck
nigga.
that. Yeah.
You know how many
Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though.
Right.
The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that.
Right.
That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref gonna be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Bozy Ennis, the father and trainer of rising star Jaron Boots Ennis, shared his view on the first fight between Davis and Roach. Ennis thought Gervonta Davis should have been disqualified for an illegal knee, but felt the system worked in his favor, giving him an advantage. Ennis noted that the referee seemed to favor Davis, which he believed led to an unfair result.
Saying that he won the fight, you know what I mean? You know, and then that when he took that knee, that really was supposed to be a disqualification. You know what I mean? And then you can't go to the corner and get your eyes wiped, you know what I mean, with a towel and all that. You know what I mean? Anybody else would have got disqualified. Or getting points taken away. Some, you know what I mean? So other than that, you know what I mean, that's where I look at it.
As far as game plans go, how should Gervonta Davis approach this fight?
I think something might have been on Tank's mind. You know what I mean? Because he didn't fight the way he normally fight. To me. I mean, that's the way it looked to me. You know what I mean? He looked like something was on his mind. He was worrying about something. I mean, but he still fought good, though. You know what I mean? But like he normally did. You know what I mean?
If you're Lamont, do you press the action early or do you do exactly what you did in the first fight? Whereas they'll press him after round 6, round 7, round 8.
I think he needs to press the fight more and stay busy. You know what I mean? You know, because he looked good. Like I said, both of them look good. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from neither one of them. That was a beautiful fight, man.
Should the rematch happen next, or should Tank maybe take a Shakur, a Lomachenko?
You said Tank?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if it don't happen next, you know what I mean? If it don't happen next, Lamont gonna want to fight in Shakur.
Mikey Garcia, a former world champion, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. Garcia believes Davis will make adjustments in the second fight, avoiding the mistakes from the first. He thinks Davis's ability to learn from past performances will give him an advantage, however. Garcia also warned that if Davis was dealing with mental issues or distractions, he should not step into the ring unless fully focused.
Hopefully,
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and then he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, I'm surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows?
Maybe it turns if Mark gets back out.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight. He'll get a third fight, right? No?
Coach Kenny Ellis, who has worked with several notable boxers, shared his opinion on the upcoming rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Ellis was not overly confident about Davis's chances in the second fight, saying it would be a 50-50 contest. He recognized that both fighters have strengths and weaknesses, and the outcome would depend on how each one adjusted to the other's style.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not. You know, life goes on. You know, life goes on.
What would you say if how would you feel like the media would per se see it if the fight wasn't to happen?
50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50.
You would have people that wouldn't care, people that would care.
Yeah, just like this. Some people say Lamont won, some people say Tank won. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Teofimo Lopez, another major figure in boxing, shared his thoughts on the aftermath of the Davis versus Roach fight. Lopez pointed out that after the controversial draw, Davis found himself somewhat isolated, with many questioning his place in boxing. The fight's outcome led to more scrutiny of Davis's career, with some fans and analysts criticizing his abilities. Lopez suggested that the controversy left Davis in a vulnerable position, with his reputation and standing as a top fighter being challenged. This added pressure on Davis as he prepared for the rematch, knowing many were eager to see if he could bounce back and prove his worth.
I know a lot of people, look what they did with Gervonta too. I want everybody, all these young fighters that are listening to this, and you could clip this. It's a short part right here.
I got you.
To Ryan could clip this right here. To all you young fighters, look at the amount of love they were giving and sharing to Gervonta Tank Davis prior to the fight. Look at what all the reporters were doing prior to the fight. Look how they were all laughing at all his jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach. After the fight, look how many were waiting to down this man. Down him. See, I'm going to talk my smack with Tank, but that's because I want to fight him. That's me. I can say that. But I just want all you young fighters to really look about it. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
They won't ever care about us. When you winning, they're going to be there. But they're waiting for any moment to slip up. Just a man, even a draw. Look how much hate he got out of it.
Yeah, not to get deep, but you know, it's a part of our psychology. We have to learn how to care about other people. You know what I mean?